The midseason cut affects your fantasy team, not just your picks. This is the last chance to get pre-cut points. Stay tuned for more on that. It's the 2023 Margaret River Pro, and last year, so using the surf forecast and analyzing some surf stats, I'm going to make my WSL fantasy picks. Now for me, I feel like I almost have to select John based on his numbers, although he has yet to have that dominating event where he smashes every heat on his way to victory. Either the talent pool is too deep and it's caught up with him, or this is the moment we will see that 2017-2019 John. I hope that the waves are solid and he can showcase his rail game. So which fantasy team won the 2023 Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach? Let's congratulate Tasty Waves for winning the 2023 Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach. Tasty Waves' event picks were 38th in the world, and this even after he lost Jack Robinson in the round of 32, like some of us. Tasty Waves will receive a medal for the win and enter the Hall of Fame at oldsurfdad.com. Hey look, our league has grown and it's getting tougher to get a win. Tasty Waves, I hope your family and friends recognize what a legend you are. If you didn't know, the overall winner for the year gets the Hall of Fame trophy, which features the Andy Iron Rising Sun mini surfboard on a trophy base signed by the GOAT himself, Kelly Slater. Here's our current top 5 overall. If you want to join our league, just go to oldsurfdad.com and click the Join Our League button in the top right. All right, let's check the surf report and see what's happening in Western Australia. As I record this video, there's a swell at Margaret's and you'll probably see the CT surfers getting a pre-event warm-up in some pretty good waves on Instagram. And while you're there scrolling, don't forget to give me a follow. I'm starting to use Instagram more for announcements, projects, and even some personal photos. Check it out. Anyway, West Oz gets a lot of swell this time of year, and it looks like there are waves for the start of the event. I would expect the opening round to be held from the beginning of the waiting period on the 20th or 21st, with the swell increasing into the weekend. The long-range forecast looks pretty average, maybe even small, but the roaring 40s can fire up pretty quickly. Stay tuned to the Margaret River Surf Report page at oldsurfdad.com, where I write a daily surf report summary with the most recent forecast. You can find a link in the video's description below. All right, let's check out the cut and look at a few stats. Let's start with the cut. Obviously, there are surfers that need results to stay on the CT. But did you realize that this Margaret River event is your last chance to get a larger amount of fantasy points towards your year-end total? Let's let Old Surf Dad from last year explain. So there's a lot of talk about the mid-season cut, and I definitely have some opinions on that, which I've been sharing in the Discord chat. But I want to stay focused on how the cut affects your fantasy team. Let's start with team lock deadlines. This is from the fantasy rulebook found right here on the WSL fantasy page. This is the rule that talks about reselects and when your team starts earning points. Now, before the mid-season cut, your team starts earning points in the round of 32. But after the cut, your team doesn't start earning points until the round of 16, which means you'll not be able to earn as many points after Margaret River starting in G-Land. And it's the same thing for the women's. You don't start earning points until the quarterfinals. This is the last chance for a big payout of fantasy points. Why? Because after the cut, there are less surfers and therefore less points. So in other words, you don't want to suck here. It's like our own fantasy cut line, and maybe more reason to hate the cut. So yes, note to self not to wear the clear frames and look like WSL CEO Eric Logan. But also note to all of us to do our best to cash in on points at Margaret River. Let's take a quick look at the rankings and the cut. Here's the men's rankings, and those within the green box have already made the cut. Those in the red box still need points, and you can see the cut line between Liam O'Brien, ranked 21st on one side, and Miguel Pupo, ranked 25th on the other. If you look on the left side, you can see the event rankings points up for grabs and consider what each surfer may potentially need to make the cut. This will be dynamic depending on the results as the heats progress. Here's the women's version, which is more intense because there are less surfers and less will qualify. Stab Premium members can check out a great article that breaks it all down, but we aren't going to have any real answers until the event gets underway. I'll post these graphics on the homepage of the website if you want to get a better look. As for the stats, I'm going to steer you towards the oldsurfdad.com website and suggest you look through the Margaret River webpage, where I've crunched a lot of numbers and distilled it into highlights, including the power rankings, my fantasy radar, and of course, the survival stats for those of you still in the hunt. Check it all out at oldsurfdad.com. I think it's time to make some fantasy picks. Let's get into it. In Tier A Women's, I've decided I'm all in on Molly, and that's a big deal considering I've picked Carissa almost every time for the past 2 seasons. The majority of you agree. Here's a poll I had on my YouTube channel. It's currently 46% in favor of Molly. If you want to know why I'm not picking Tyler, check out my fantasy radar. Although I will say she didn't do one Larry layback at Bell's, and her turns look so much better. Women's Tier B is ridiculous. Anyone in here could win the event. And there's last year's finalist, Gabriella Bryan, and winner, Isabella Nichols. With the blue switch toggled to show Margaret River stats, Steph and Tati have great numbers here. I'm going to pick Tatiana and make her my power surfer. Then I'll back her up with Betty Lou Sakura Johnson. Still, I really like the way Gabriella surfs Margies, and I think leaving Katie Simmers on the sideline is dangerous. There's just no way I can make a decision with all these talented surfers in the draw. By the way, I did an interview with Western Australia local TBONE from the Barrel podcast. In it, he makes his picks, and we talk about all things Margaret River. It's an uninterrupted, podcast-style good time, and it's on my YouTube channel. Link is in the description. In Tier C, I really view this as a choice between Lakey and Courtney, who both need results to make the cut. The stats say Courtney, but my gut tells me Lakey, and I'll take her. Women's picks complete. Whoa, hold on a second. I just found out that Bronte McCauley won the trials, and she will be my Tier C pick. All right, carry on. The big news in men's Tier A is that Western Australia local Jack Robinson is out with a knee injury, and he would have been a top pick despite his upset loss to Xavier Huxtable at Bell's. According to his Instagram, he injured his meniscus and will start physiotherapy next week. We should see him back at the Surf Ranch. Now for me, I feel like I almost have to select John John based on his numbers, although he has yet to have that dominating event where he smashes every heat on his way to victory. Either the talent pool is too deep and it's caught up with him, or this is the moment we will see that 2017-2019 John John. I hope that the waves are solid and he can showcase his rail game. I'll pick John John for now and make him my power surfer. My next pick won't be Felipe or Ethan, but I'll choose Joao Chianca, who barely edged out Griffin as my second pick. I'll consider Griffin as a reserve should John John or Joao not look solid in the opening round. I also have my eye on Kaiwi Belly. Side note, I usually go with the bracket pick strategy, and you can see a video on that in the link in the upper right, but I'm going to stay more focused on the surfers rather than the matchups this time and see how I do. Man, my picks have been weak sauce this year. All right, and what looks like a nightmare crowd at Lower Trestles, men's Tier B is stacked to the rafters with too many good picks, but I'm going to take Matthew McGillivray, Elo Ferreira, Calum Robson, and Nat Young. That's an international wrecking crew right there, and I'll keep Jordy and Kanoa in my back pocket just in case. In Tier C, I was thinking about picking the GOAT, but so were all of you, so I'll go in a different direction and take Baron Mamiya and Jacob Wilcox because that's who T-Bone picked, and when he picked them in our interview, it just sounded right. Plus, both these guys have Tier A talent, enough said. So there they are, the best picks in the world. Well, for me anyway. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What is my best and worst pick? And tell me who your power surfer is. Can you believe there are already people out of the Survival Losers League, including the creator Taylor? What the hell? For my survival pick, I'm staying with favorites and going with John, who survived 7 of 7 Margaret River events in the past. To see all their survival picks, check out the survival page on my website in the description below. So who's your survival pick? Let me know in the comments below. Now, believe it or not, if you make the cut, you get the distinct honor and privilege of surfing in the goat pool in Fresno. And I have to say, I'm not a fan. It is not that fun to watch. Now, those that don't make the cut are going to surf a real wave in the ocean at the Superbank. And if there's a cyclone, I might be watching the CS event instead. Now, if you made it to this video, thank you so much, and please leave a fire emoji in the comments section. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate it. All right, catch you on the next one, and good luck with your fantasy team.